Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is April the 16th, 2023, and we are continuing our study on Molech. In this video, and I think there's going to be more than one, we're going to be looking at the Valley of the Son of Hinnom and Tophet. So let's go ahead and look at some of the verses that tie those two places to Molech. And they built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Molech, which I commanded them not. Neither came it into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin. Actually, I think I only put one verse in here that tied it to Molech. Okay, yeah, so I just had the one verse. I put this verse in here to show you that the Valley of the Son of Hinnom is a name given to a specific area. I'll read this to you and then we'll talk about it. And the border went up by the Valley of the Son of Hinnom unto the south side of the Jebusite. The same is Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lieth before the Valley of Hinnom westward, which is at the end of the Valley of the Giants northward. It was just the specific area where they would go and commit their sexual sins. That was part of the mountain that was called the Valley of the Son of Hinnom. If you read this here, and then I think it's repeated coming from the other direction in Joshua 18, it distinguishes the Valley of the Son of Hinnom from the Valley of Hinnom. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out, because Hinnom, as when we investigated, we're going to find out that this means vanity. It's the Valley of the Sons of Vanity. So what we're going to do is we're going to read through chapter 19. We're going to read through part of it. And then we're going to stop. We're going to look at the definitions. And then we'll come back and finish it up. Thus saith the Lord, go and get a potter's earthen bottle. I want to put this in context for you so you can see the words being used in context. And the reason why is because there is a change in the word for Tophet. So you can see it. You should be able to see it if we look at it in context. Thus saith the Lord, go and get a potter's earthen bottle, and take of the ancients of the people, and of the ancients of the priests, and go forth into the valley of the son of Hinnom, which is by the entry of the east gate, and proclaim there the words that I shall tell thee, and say, hear ye the word of the Lord, O kings of Judah, and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will bring evil upon this place, in which whosoever heareth his ears shall tingle, because they have forsaken me, and have estranged this place, and have burned incense in it unto other gods, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, nor the kings of Judah, and have filled this place with the blood of innocents. They have built also the high places of Baal, to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that this place shall no more be called Tophet. Tophet is actually the Tophet. If we look at the Hebrew, it's the Tophet. Nor the Valley of the Son of Hinnom, but the Valley of Slaughter. So it's called Tophet. Same place is called the Valley of the Son of Hinnom, or the Tophet. But it is going to be called the Valley of Slaughter. So let's go to our next verse. Let me mark this verse. So here they're speaking of the Valley of Slaughter. And this is in Jeremiah 7. For the children of Judah have done evil in my sight, saith the Lord. They have set their abominations in the house, which is called by my name, to pollute it. And they have built the high places of Tophet, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I commanded them not, neither came it into my heart. Now, In the previous lessons, we realized that burning your son and your daughter in the fire means that fire, which means torment. When you burn your sons and your daughter in the fire, you are having children by a heathen mother and causing a child of God, a seed of Israel. The male is impregnating a heathen woman who's also a witch. And it's causing the seed of Israel to be raised by a heathen mother who serves another god, and causing that child, by doing so, she's raising that child to serve another god, and is causing that child to go through the fire or go through needless torment, as opposed to if it had been raised a godly child serving the God of Israel. Okay? So they have built the high places of Tophet. Let's look up Tophet. And it is the Tophet. As a matter of fact, let's just look at it real quick. It is the Tophet here. And you can see the word here as well. Okay, Tophet, a place near Jerusalem, Tophet, Tophet. That tells us nothing, but that's okay, because this word is also the exact same word used in H8611. And H8611 tells us that it is a smiting, that is figuratively contempt, tabre. And the root word is 8608. A primitive root to drum, that is play as on a tambourine. Tabor, play with timbrels. So when we go to 11, H8611, they give us a use for that word in the book of Job. He has made me also a byword of the people, and aforetime I was as a tabernacle. You can see here that there is an opposite here. He has made me also a byword. That means he's become a warning to the people, a negative saying to warn the people, basically. And aforetime I was a tabernacle. Let's look this up. We should have looked up byword as well. And we know what that is. But this we need to know for sure. A timbrel or a tambourine, generally played for women. Tabaret should be, as the Revised Version, an open abhorring. You see how this is a negative word? One in whose face they spit. A spitting in the face. You see how they've taken a negative word and they compared it to, taken a negative and compared it to a negative. No, see, that doesn't work. That's not the meaning that's portrayed here. He's now negative, whereas before it was supposed to be positive. What they were doing was they were trying to hide this word, is what they were doing. This word, they didn't give you anything for this. And then here, they give you, we need to look up smiting. Smiting. To smite something means to hit it hard. The heroic leader charging into battles, sword held high, ready to smite the enemy. Old used to hit something with a lot of force. To strike sharply or heavily, especially with the hand or an implement held in the hand. The reason why this definition has the word smiting in it is because Tophet is a totem. And they would get the tree and then they would just hit it with their chisel and their hammer and this, that, and the other, and they would chisel out the figure in the tree. That's what it is. I want to tell you guys something. I want to tell you this. Okay, I'll tell you this. When I told you, I've already told you before that I'll read stuff and then later on I'll come back and I'll try to find it and I can't find it. Then I realized that it was a revelation of some sort. It was a revelation. So when I was looking this up, I remembered a verse that I had read about King Solomon and his wives. And I can't remember the verse exactly, but I remember it had the word poles in it. It talked about how King Solomon's wives had erected so many poles. I think it used the word poles. Throughout the nation, that even after he died, the poles, many of those poles still remained. And it used that term as it is, that many of the poles remained as it is this day, implying that even at that time, many of those poles were still erected. So it kind of gives you the impression that those totem poles that had been erected by his heathen wives stood up pretty much throughout the time of the kingdom of Israel. They were there for a very, very long time. So I don't know if that's helpful to you, but you can keep it in mind as, if you happen to fall across something that looks like that. But it had, as it is this day in the wording, and it talked about all of it may be in there, maybe that I just couldn't find it. I don't know if I saw it and can't remember it, or if it was just something. You know what I'm trying to say. I just don't know. I can't find it anywhere, though. I can't find it anymore. But his wives erected so many totem poles that they worshipped under, that they pretty much lasted throughout. They never tore them all down while the kingdom of Israel existed. That's what... Hold on. Let me go back. That is what Tophet is. Well, that's what one of the definitions is. See, the problem is this is meant to be positive. This is an idol that they have erected for their God, which they worship at, and they do positive things. Now, of course, it's an abomination. We know that. And so they felt at ease making it into something bad. The problem is it doesn't work in Job. In Job, it has to be a positive. In Jeremiah, it has to be something negative. Which leads us to the third definition, or the second, however you want to look at it. And that's H8613. H3613 is a place of cremation. Let's look at our other words real quick before we move on to that. Hold on, because I want to look at the other scriptures. Oh, this right here is the real word for tambourine. It looks nothing like H8611. So this is the word H for tambourine, and then this is the word for Tophet. 8596. Tambourine. Tophet. Two completely different words. Just as this Tophet is a different word. Let me tell you something before we go on. We have spoken about the language of Hebrew in our video. What is in the video? What is the true language of God's people? And I mentioned that this is not the original language of Hebrew that was spoken back in the days of Jesus. That was a real language. One of the ways that you can know that this is not a real language is because the premises of which it was developed. The Hebrew language was developed under the premise of he wanted all the words to be 3 letters. That makes no sense. How are you just going to create a language? And okay, you know what? Whatever. It doesn't make any sense. But moving past that. Not only did he make all the words 3 letters, or that was the goal. Most of them do have 3 letters. But most of the letters are square in nature. You can see the difficulty of reading this language if you just watch someone who is supposed to be prolific in it read through Hebrew. They fumble over the words every single time. They'll fumble over it, and they have to refer back to their memory of the scripture in order to read that verse, because it doesn't line up properly usually. It doesn't work when you have a bunch of squares and half squares and this, that, and the other, and the letter is only 3 words. All of the words look alike. The only time I've ever heard someone speak or read properly was an older Jewish rabbi, and he read through it so fast that I thought to myself, he probably has it memorized. They can speak it because my understanding, it's probably very close to Yiddish, but reading it, no. They fumble over their readings almost every single time that I watch them. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I wanted to make you understand that this language is developed under the understanding that each word is supposed to have 3 letters. I think I said words before, sorry about that. Each word is supposed to have 3 letters. That's the key word. This one has 4, which is very odd, especially when you consider that the definition in no way matches this. There's obvious changes that have been made. So what is the change? The change is they just took the change is they just added this to the front so that it looked like this. But the original word is the G-N and then the N. And that word means opening. An opening. We'll look at the words. Hold on, let me get to the right place first. Let's look at our other scriptures. Oh, okay, it's the next scripture. So let's look at the words here. Okay, so let me go back one. If you try to look up the GN and then if you try to look up this word GN and then N, it's going to refer you almost all the words around it. Oh, it's going to refer you to GN apostrophe. And so that's our next one. So when we look at GN apostrophe, it is to be wide, open, or to widen. It's an opening. But before we do that, let's go back and let's look at the word for. Oh yeah, this is the word for Tophet. which I thought was interesting. It doesn't give you a definition, and it refers you to this one. This one was changed as well. This is why I was not surprised about all the changes, because even in the dictionary, the older dictionaries, they have an original word for these words. They don't have the changes that are here. They have this word. And the same thing for Hinnom. It's changed. They changed all. Look at all of these different. Okay, that's not the different words here. That's the name of the rabbi that gave the interpretation. I think that's what that is. But I thought this was interesting, and that's why I put this in here. It's called the Valley of Beth Tophet, the Valley of the House of Tophet. We have the house of Aaron. We have the house of Israel. They have the house of Tophet. They identify themselves as a family, as a group. How about that? I thought that was interesting. Okay, the wicked have their own house. I mean, I thought it was interesting. They are united against us. We know that. This is Hinnom. Hinnom was changed as well. Hinnom, as I mentioned before, means vanity. We'll see that in a moment. We'll come across it. They didn't even have the word for Hinnom. Hold on. Let's go back because I want to show it to you now. Hold on. So, the Valley of the Sons of Hinnom. So, Hinnom is gratuitous, purposeless act, vanity. The valley which all enter for affairs of vanity, worldly lust. Valley of Hinnom. They didn't even have a word that matches it exactly. They just put it in here under vanity. So they know that they changed them. They don't care. They do it shamelessly. And so they'll change the word, and then of course it's more convenient to change the meaning. But I guess the lexicons and all of that was so widespread that they weren't able to change it in the lexicons. Not perfectly. Not to match the newer definitions that they had given. But anyway. Oh, let's go back now to Tophet. So this Tophet is the opening or the widening. It's like a pit. It's a pit. For Tophet is ordained of old. The opening, the pit, is ordained of old. Yea, for the king it is prepared. We realized in the last study that a king is like a lesser god. Jesus, Satan, all of those idols that they worshipped. For the king it is prepared. He has made it deep and large. The pile thereof is fire and much wood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of brimstone, doth kindle it. Then shall they say also unto them, let me read that again. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and for his angels. This is the word for vanity that I wanted to show you to compare it to Hinnom. So that's vanity, and that's Hinnom. Oh, that's our last scripture. Oh, hold on. Let's just go forward here. Okay. Okay, that's not our last scripture. Okay, I have way more scriptures in here than I remember. Okay, let's read through this and then we'll stop and we'll start another video and we might be able to get through it. Let's go for it. So we'll read through this with the understanding now that Tophet can be a positive for the totem. It can also be a negative, which refers to an opening or a pit or hell, however you want to see it. For the children of Judah have done evil in my sight, saith the Lord. They have set their abominations in the house, which is called by my name, to pollute it. And they have built the high places of Tophet, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I commanded them not, neither came it into my heart. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be called Tophet, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. For they shall bury in Tophet, till there be no place. And the carcasses of this people shall be meat for the fowls of the heaven, and for the beasts of the earth, and none shall fray them away. That means it's going to be desolate, because there's no people there to fray the birds away, or to bury the bodies. Then will I cause to cease from the cities of Judah, and from the streets of Jerusalem, the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, for the land shall be desolate. We know that this happens right before the time of the end, and that it has not yet happened. Okay, we're going back to Jeremiah 19. We want to finish that up before we finish up our verses. So we stopped at 7. And I will make void the counsel of Judah and Jerusalem in this place, and will cause them to fall by the sword before their enemies, and by the hand of them that seek their lives. And their carcasses will I give to be meat for the fowls of the heaven, and for the beasts of the earth. And I will make this city desolate and in hissing. Every one that passes thereby shall be astonished and hiss because of all the plagues thereof. And I will cause them to eat their flesh, the flesh of their sons, and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his friend in the siege and straitness wherewith their enemies, and they that seek their lives shall straiten them. Then shalt thou break the bottle in the sight of the men that go with thee. Remember, this story started off where God sent Jeremiah to the top of the valley with the ancients of the people. Then shalt thou break the bottle in the sight of the men that go with thee, and shall say unto them, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, even so will I break this people and this city, as one breaketh a potter's vessel that cannot be made whole again. And they shall bury them in Tophet, till there be no place to bury. This was the scripture that gave me problems with the one interpretation of Tophet. I couldn't make any logical sense of it, just as a totem or some other meaningless word. I had to change it to the opening. It just didn't make sense. Thus will I do unto this place, saith the Lord, and to the inhabitants thereof, and even make this city as Tophet. And the houses of Jerusalem and the houses of the kings of Judah shall be defiled as the place of Tophet, because of all the houses upon whose roofs they have burned incense unto all the hosts of heaven, and have poured out drink offerings unto other gods. Then came Jeremiah from Tophet, whether the Lord had sent him to prophesy. And he stood in the court of the Lord's house, and said to all the people, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring upon this city, and upon all her towns, all the evil that I have pronounced against it, because they have hardened their necks, that they might not hear my words. Let's jump ahead. Ye shall utterly destroy I want you to pay attention to the wording closely when we get to this third verse. That's why I put this in here. I wanted to point out the wording in this verse. Ye shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which ye shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains, and upon the hills, and upon every green tree, and under every green tree. And ye shall overthrow their altars, and break their pillars, and burn their groves with fire. And ye shall hew down the graven images of their God, and destroy the names of them out of that place. Now, I'm pointing this out. I'm going to go over this in a moment. Because this saying, under every green tree, this came from the worship of those totems. That's where it came from. It green in the Bible means prosperous. So it's kind of like in Daniel 4, where the tree was wide and green and prosperous, but it was prosperous for the animals that lived in it as a shelter, that ate the fruit from it, that used the wood, and it was rich for the inhabitants that are the utilizers of the tree. So that's what it's talking about under every green tree. It's talking about those totems. So when I was reading this, and ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars, I thought at first the pillars was the totems, but that's not so. Let's look at the definition for pillars. Oh, we're in a hurry, so something station or stationary, that is a column or memorial stone. By analogy, and idol. It's just we're not going to look it up because of time, but yeah, it's, they like their phallic symbols and their stone, stuff like that. Anyway, and burn their groves with fire. We've already discussed groves. Those are their little areas where they would do their little sex acts and stuff. But here it says, ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods. Hew down means to cut down as a tree. To fell a tree, generally to destroy anything, cut asunder. Hew down. They're talking about the totems here. And you shall hew down the graven images. The graven images would be, if we had time to look it up, then this would be the word that for the smiting, the smitten images of their gods, and destroy the names of them out of this place. So let's see quickly what else I have here. I don't know why I have that in there, so let's just skip that. And we've already read this. I just put that in there as a marker to remind myself to read. And I think that's it. That's it. So we're all done. We will leave it at that. And I will talk with you in the next video.